Namaste everyone. In today's video, we're going to focus on Muni Patanjali's Yoga Sutra 2.29. Now in this Yoga Sutra, for the first time, Muni Patanjali lays out the exact 8 limbs of the Ashtanga Yoga practice. And in this, he just enumerates the 8 processes, and the upcoming sutras, he breaks them down even further. So this sutra just names the 8 angas, and we're going to take a good look at it and start breaking it up word by word. So the sutra itself goes, Yama Niyama Asana Pranayam Pratyahara Dharana Dhyana Samadhayo Shtavangani. Alright, so that is the sutra itself. Let's hear it one more time and then break it up. The sutra goes, Yama Niyama Asana Pranayam Pratyahar Dharana Dhyan Samadhayo Shtavangani. Alright, so this is the sutra itself. Now let's take a good look at each of the words and start breaking it up step by step. The first word we have here is yam, and yama talks about the social conduct or the way in which we should behave socially, and in the upcoming sutras we're going to get a good understanding of it, but right now we just have the word yam. The next word is niyam, and niyam means certain codes of self-conduct. So how you should behave with yourself, the kind of self-discipline you should have is what niyama is all about. The third step is asana, and asana over here is talking about the physical postures which today are the most common element of the yogic practice. The next word here is pranayama. And pranayama is talking about the usage of the breath, the pranic energy through the breathing practices, so breath control or breath expansion. And then coming to pratyahar, which means withdrawal of the senses or withdrawing the senses inwards. And the next one is dharana. Dharana means concentrating on a particular subject and trying to do that to move towards meditation. And the next word is dhyan, which popularly is known as meditation today, and is the complete focus and deep concentration on a particular subject. And then we come to the word samadhi, and samadhi means where you are experiencing a subject in its greatest essence and depth, and in such a way that you almost feel at one with that subject of meditation. And then the next word here is ashta. And ashta means 8. So it's saying that all of these 8 together are the 8. And the next word is anga. So anga means limb or a part. And so it's saying ashta anga. And it's telling us that all the 8 different words that we mentioned before form a part of the Ashtanga Yoga. Now that we've understood it word by word, let's see what exactly the sutra is trying to say. So the sutra itself is trying to explain to us the 8 different parts, and is telling us that this is the layout in which the 8 different parts of yoga can be followed. Now it's really interesting here because there's so much of a debate on whether these 8 steps need to be followed one after the other, or whether we need to follow them in any different manner in between from wherever we like. So different schools believe different things. We're going to try and give you both perspectives, and then you can form your own opinion on what you would like to go with. What I'd also suggest is if you're looking for an in-depth explanation of just the 8 angas, we've made a separate video on that called the Ashtanga Yoga, where we dive into each of the 8 angas in one video itself. So you can check that video out. We'll leave the link in the description and also as a card on the screen, so you can check it out. But coming back to this sutra, here we're being told specifically that either you can follow sequential order or you can choose how you want to approach the practice. Now it's really interesting. The main point to keep in mind is there's a difference between Hatha Yoga and Patanjali Yoga. So what we're discussing right now as part of all these sutras is a part of Patanjali Yoga and is very philosophical, mental health based in nature. It directly is inspired by Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, and so it really tries to follow the sutras as best possible. Whereas the popular Hatha Yoga, which is where we get most of our asana, pranayama practices, the bandha practices from, that practice in its essential books, there are 3 main books, Hatha Yoga Pradipika, Gheran Samhita and Shiva Samhita. In these 3 books, none of the books explicitly mention yam niyam as something that needs to be done before asana. Instead, according to them, they jump straight to the asanas and start off from there. So there's a very essential difference between the way the Hatha Yoga Pradipika looks at the angas versus the way Patanjali Yoga looks at it. And that's why there are so many differing opinions. Alright, so this is important to know. And based on this, either you can start off directly with the asanas and keep making your way forward through the practical, more physical elements of yoga. Or on the other hand, if you follow Patanjali Yoga, then you might want to be well versed with the yam and niyam before you go on to the asana. So it entirely depends what system of yoga you're following. One of the reasons we think that Hatha Yoga may not have mentioned the yam niyam so prominently is probably because they assume that through the practical asana pranayam practice, your behavior anyway changes. You anyway become a better person. You have certain social conducts in place, certain self-discipline in place. So I think the Hatha Yogic authors felt that it's something that will anyway happen. So they did not want to separately mention yam niyam as they felt like it was just part and parcel of the process. However, Patanjali Yoga Sutras does mention it, and they give it a lot of importance. And that's the essential difference. But one more point to mention here is, in Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, there are only few instances where we're told that we have to follow the order. So for example, between asana and pranayam, there's a word tasmin sati which has been used, which indicates that ideally, in most circumstances, asana should be done before pranayam, and at least for those 2, asana should be done first so pranayam happens properly. This is one instance. The second instance is between dharana, dhyan and samadhi. It's recommended that we go in that particular order, which is usually what happens because we start concentration, then we go deep focus, and then we feel, a merger or a single essence with something. So it usually anyway takes on that order. But these are the 2 places where specifically Patanjali is saying that, hey, do not skip the order, try and follow this order in particular. But other than that, there are no clear indications that we have to follow the 8 steps in a row. What our commentators and what the book is suggesting is that you can even try to do all of the 8 limbs almost simultaneously together. Because usually in real life, we might be doing an asana practice, we might be doing a pranayam practice, and at the same time, we're trying to be a better human being, trying to use yam, trying to use niyam, also doing some meditation, also doing, so in real life, it all just ends up happening simultaneously. And that just might be the most practical way to look at it. So we don't have to create hard and fast boundaries between the 8, but we just have to know why the different schools look at it differently and what's the difference between Patanjali Yoga, Hatha Yoga, and the overall, synopsis of these 8 points. So that's the most important thing to keep in mind. I'd say personally, this is really exciting now because we are getting to hear about the practical steps. The philosophy is becoming a reality, and we can understand how actually to do these steps and make them happen. So it's a really interesting juncture in the Patanjali Yoga Sutras where we've reached, where the next sutras are going to take us deeper and deeper into the practical elements and the how of yoga, which is really interesting. So I hope you're looking forward to the next couple of sutras as well, and I hope you found this video really interesting and informative. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, share our video if you found it useful. Also drop your comments and suggestions in the comments box below and give it a big fat thumbs up. We look forward to seeing you now in the next video or in one of our future classes. The link is in the description to sign up for our classes, and we hope to see you there as well. So until then, take care. I'm going to see you in the next one, and I'll catch you then. Namaste.